Hi, good morning.
Okay, yeah, my name is Okewo Ayotomide Comfort. You can call me Ayo. Ayo is okay. And I'm very excited to be here.
All right, so can we start with you? Can you just give us briefly how you started your journey?
Me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think that my journey was it wasn't super difficult or anything. So basically, I think it's a long story. I basically did international law and diplomacy, so I didn't come from like the IT background or anything. I came from somewhat of a legal background, but when I started working, I discovered that I needed a little bit more from life. Like what I was currently doing didn't like fit my, the vision of my career for myself. So I decided, I wanted to go into IT, and I was looking for what to do. So I went for several conferences and all of that. Yeah, I saw what I could do and what I couldn't do. And then I stumbled on software testing, and they told me all about it. And I felt like he aligned with some of the skills that I did have, like the fact that, okay, I liked talking, communicating. Also, I liked, analyzing things and, critiquing them. So he was like the perfect thing for me. I think I took my ISTQB training, but I didn't get a job until like a year or 6 months after. And I think those were like the hard times where I had to, go for several interviews and all of that, but perseverance helped. And then I got my first job. So I think that's like the short version of my journey into QA.
Wow, thank you. That was a little bit emotional. It was funny. He has a bit of everything. But I would go over to Damilola. Yeah, Damilola, can you just tell us how you started your career into software testing? Hello, Damilola, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I started software testing in 2019 November. So I was formerly a database administrator, but I wasn't exactly enjoying what I was doing at that time. So I was lagging behind. I was always like, I wasn't sure of I wasn't sure of myself. I felt like, oh, I'll make mistakes and I was going to like disappoint everybody and all of that. But so due to my insecurities, I wasn't delivering as I should and all of that. So my uncle just said, oh, that there is this thing that he would like me to learn. He introduced me to software testing and I started learning with Neto. So I took the training. I had my trainers and my mentors. The environment was like very, very, very cool. Okay, so can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
All right. So yeah, the learning environment was very conducive for me, and that was how I got into software testing.
Wow, it looks like you got it very smooth and easy though. Yes, I'll be going next to Moses Oba, the bad guy himself.
Hi again, guys. Yeah, so my journey started Netto Solution. I started as a WordPress web designer. I remember these were trying to building websites with WordPress, and then I had interest in development, in learning to become a web developer. Started that. It was whilst I was learning web development that I stumbled upon software testing. My evil boss, Pablo, and friend introduced software testing to me, and ever since it has been awesome. I saw it as where I would want to continue my journey because of my interest in how logic works and in exactly.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you clearly.
We can't really hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, your voice is quite low.
Hi, Moses, can you hear me?
Let me.
Okay.
How is it now? Do I sound better?
Yeah, it's better now. Very much better.
Okay. Okay. So let me just start off. I said my journey started at Network Solutions. And basically started as a WordPress web designer. It was interesting as a WordPress web designer, but I started having the interest to learn to become a developer. I wanted to learn the technical side of coding, and then I was introduced to software testing. It was more like something I say wasn't planned. I didn't think I was going to be a software tester, but then it has been an awesome journey so far. And I'd say it's one of the best decisions that I've made to stay in it because for several reasons that we'll be talking about. One, the fact that it's a path that allows you to continue learning. It's a path that does not seem to have ending. So it has been awesome. It has been awesome so far.
Okay, Moses, thank you very much. That was quite an interesting one. So yes, the next question or what I would be asking next would be going to Damilola and Ademola Badmus, and that is when you guys were coming into software testing, when you were trying to set yourself up into software testing, what was your greatest challenge during the learning phase? What exactly was that thing that you guys probably came across that made you feel like, is this thing actually for me? Or probably you guys wanted to back out? What was your greatest challenge during the learning phase? Badmus and Damilola.
Okay, so I'll go first. My greatest challenge while training, I think, was communication for me, because I was coming from a place where I didn't always have to communicate. I didn't always have to talk to anybody. And me personally, as a person, I don't really like to associate myself like that. I'm always very shy if I'm in the midst of people that are older than I am. I don't know how to really express myself. And as a software tester, communication is like one of the major skills that you need as a tester. So for me, it was communication, like communicating my issues, my blockers, and even things that I've done. Yeah, so that was my greatest challenge.
Okay, thank you, Dan. So yours was communication. Yeah. Ademola Badmus. So yeah, you're next.
Start. So for me, I can't really place it if I really had a challenge when I transitioned into QA, because it was as if it was as if I had been lost all this while. So I found a place I could call home. Everything just made sense. I have a computer science background.
Wow.
You understand? So there's this particular course that sort of lays foundation. Whoever is a computer science major here would know it. System analysis and design, that might not be the topic, that might not be the subject, the title in your school, but it's basically about testing and all the levels of it. So it was as if everything I was taught in class began to make more sense. So I didn't really, but if there was any challenge at all, the only challenge I had was understanding where I need to define how I need to go. Okay, I'm using how I need to a lot. It's basically, my biggest challenge was understanding how I need to map out the path to grow. That was it. That was it. Because, you know, with software testing, there is performance side, there is security side, there is automation side. And whichever one you, except maybe security, because I don't really know much about security, but even if you decide to be a performance specialist or an automation specialist, there are so many tools, so many languages. So you begin to wonder, which one should I use? Which one should I not use? So that one was on one side, but to even sit down and pick, okay, is it security I want to go after? Is it automation I want to go after? Or is it performance I want to go after? That was my biggest challenge.
Wow, that was amazing and very realistic. I think for me, I would still say I had that problem, and yes, I think a lot of people coming into the career today also had the same set of problem. I think that's good. So going to the next question, and yes, this question basically takes points to Kingsley and Kaka. So the question says, what skill set do you think are nice to have for a career starter in software testing? Kingsley, Kaka, you guys on the question.
Okay, maybe I can go first. For someone starting out in testing, I'll say, first of all, you must have very strong basic IT skills, because literally everything you test is technology based, right? So you need to have that, at least know the basics of computer, computer use. You must have covered everything that has to do with computer appreciation. I think there's a course like that. So you need that to or start, just so you don't have issues with computers and what to do when you're testing. That's number one for me. And then number two, a creative mindset is actually very helpful for people that are in QA. Your ability to think very critically about things, to try to look beyond the facade or the way things. I don't recognize this song. Apologies for my Siri there. So ability to think creatively and just see things beyond the face value, what they present to you, and try to dig it and find what's actually wrong with that particular application or platform that you're testing. And also communication is very important. As a tester, you're like this person that's like the central force that just try to reach out, and like an octopus kind of trying to reach out and touching everywhere. So
even if they fuck up, even I know it's fancy, they start me becoming afraid for me.
Thank you.
I believe the organizer has the power to mute people. So once this thing comes up, just try to mute the person as soon as possible.
Okay, so Kingsley said mostly what I would have mentioned, but just to add to what he said about communication. Yes, when we're talking about communication, we're talking about both written and verbal. So you need to be able to communicate, through writing and also verbally, face to face when you are conversing. So when it talks about reasoning also, there are times that you just need to either think out of the box, and also mostly what QAs do is not just, they think like normal people, but sometimes they need to, they just get from 0 to 100 in a short while, because they are the ones testing your applications. They need to understand, and they're the ones trying to find defects on what you have built and all. So they need to be able to think in an abstract way and see, issues the way we ourselves don't, well, most of us don't even see it. So I think that's just in addition. Then if you're thinking about, you going into automation and, then that means you need to understand, have a sense, understand programming, even if it's the basics and all. So that's what you need to understand that. So I think that's just the basic things you need to have in hand if you want to go into it. But then at the end of the day, yes, you can still come as you are, and you can pick it from there.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, I think you shined a little bit of light for me that I still have a career in software testing. Yeah, thank you. Okay, the next question is to Ayotomide and Tolu. Ayotomide, you are to go first. And the question says, do you see software testing as a limited or ending career?
Okay. Yes. No. The answer to that is no, because I think that software testing is a field, I think somebody already said it, where you have to learn and continue to evolve. And apart from that, it's even the applications that you're testing. So applications may not necessarily be the same across board. You may even be like, you specialize in maybe testing fintech applications and all of that, but an application will bring another challenge, maybe a feature that you've not tested before. I think that keeps the career path, interesting. Also, there are different tools coming out every day that you need to learn, what the market is saying, the tools that people use now, and all of that. I don't think that is limited. Also from QA, you can branch out into so many things. So I think QA even gives you like a firm foundation for understanding everything IT, right? You can be an information system expert, you can do products, you can do so many things. And even if you want to go into like the pure programming from QA, it gives you like the basics. So I don't think that it's a limited. I think it's an interesting career path if you're ready to learn.
Thank you, Ayotomide. Tolu, go next.
So for me, I think Ayotomide said it all, because it's like every one of us is just in sync, and we kind of have the same answers to the questions that have been asked this evening. Just as you have said, QA just gives you that base to grow, and you realize that different industry require different approach to testing, which means for whatever industry you find yourself, you would need to learn and just think about edge cases around such companies. So let's say you work in a loan company, it is a different approach you will take when you are just testing a revenue system. And also, I don't think, and I do not believe that software testing is limited, because, as you grow and you get to delve into more of the automation side, you just start doing the you just see that you begin to find yourself
Tolu, please unmute yourself.
Oh, wow. So if you heard me at any time.
Yeah, you were talking about moving into a different industry and trying to improve yourself.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can still say what I've said before, but what I was just saying that different industry you find yourself will determine the kind of approach you take, because you can't take the same approach you use in a loan let's say the fintech space now in a loan organization. It's not the same approach you take when you are testing a revenue management system. So you see that you begin to grow. And then even as you begin to delve into the automation bit of things, you begin to do CI/CD, you realize that you're already delving into cloud computing. You now need to know what DevOps is. You now need to know how AWS works, and which is even now making you move away from what you would readily and normally do. So with all of this, I do not believe or think software testing is limited, and or is the ending part kind of like career.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, guys. That was an awesome answer. I feel like you guys probably cooked that answer and added a lot of sauce before bringing it over.
Can I add to that?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Even when it comes to types of testing, there's a plethora of types of testing. And so there's no way software testing can be limited, because depending on the company needs, just as someone has pointed out earlier, the type of testing needed there is very different, very unique, and it adds a lot of challenges. Let me give an instance. There is a company that they have just web applications, but the way they do their web applications, they have a UI team, a UI UX team that has, they use an application called Storybook, where they keep all their components and they reuse it. There's a QA dedicated to that Storybook, testing the components, testing the attributes. It is because a tool like Cypress covers component testing. So they are using a dedicated Cypress framework for testing there. And they have another department where they only do page validations. And they have another department where they actually collect APIs first, get validations from this API before they launch the web part. So there are so many different departments there. So there is a part that they just need to first test APIs with tools like Postman, automate it with Newman, but same time still automate parts of the APIs with something like Cypress and capture the responses as cookies, put it into the Cypress framework and run with it. So it is not a bragging thing to say. It is not as if someone is bragging if you say software testing is almost as interesting and as exciting as software development. You see different challenges every day. You see different approaches. In fact, if you check the histories of automation tools that have been created, some were actually created to address a particular problem for a particular app. Case in point, Cypress itself was actually created initially to address Angular apps. Now it is versatile. Same thing with Robot Framework. It was actually created to address a particular app. So it becomes really, really interesting when you go further. And that is just part of automation. Let's not even go into performance testing, because take, for instance, JMeter, it has its own way, it has a way it works. Now you have tools like K6, Low Cost, Artillery, and the likes, and they have their different peculiarities. Like Artillery, for instance, Artillery, you don't need to start writing codes, but you must know something called YAML. You must know how to configure YAML. So when you get, the deeper you go into testing,
I mean, you get to
the more fun you get.
You get yourself. Thank you very much for that. That was very, very explanatory and very juicy. I think I'll just sync up with you after this session. Let's talk about how you can help my career. Yes, the next question goes to Damilola and Ayotomide. Damilola, you're expected to go first. And this is just a thing, like this is just a way for career starters like Mubarak just to motivate themselves. So how did you land or get your first job? How did you get it? Did you just wake up a day and you meet the job by your door, or did someone just give a card or something? Let's just give us an hint into how you got your first job. Damilola, you're meant to go for that.
So how I got my first job, I'm currently working at Network Solutions. So I started as a trainee and I continued to just work there as a tester. So I started from the trainee level, then internship, then I just continued to work as a tester at Network Solutions. So, yeah.
That's great. So you probably just met it at the last person. Okay, Ayatomide, go next.
Okay. I think a lot of things led to me getting my first job, if I may take like 2 minutes of your time. So it's so how I got my first job is okay. So when I did my ISTQB examination, the certification, I was going for several interviews. I just saw that I couldn't land a job. I didn't know why, but in retrospect, if I'm looking at it now, it will probably be because I did not have a strategy. So strategy is basically like where you are, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there, right? So if you know that you're applying for a job and you say that you have certification, it may not necessarily be enough. So people want to see that maybe you've done one project or the other, you've done maybe internships, you've gone for, you've volunteered somewhere. So that would help you. Also, networking was how I got my first job, actually. So after I've gone for those interviews, I met people, I would talk to them. I remember going for this training. I don't know if it was called a training. I think it was a seminar for the Nigerian software testing board or group or something. I think it was at one place in Lagos. I just said, let me just go. I went there and I met somebody I met initially in one of my interviews. And then he introduced me to Toby. Yeah, so that was how I worked with Toby. And Toby said he was looking for a female tester. So that was how I got a job. As a junior QA at Parallel School, working on the Toby. So that was how I got my first job and the journey.
That was great. Oh, that's good.
So I think Mubarak, can I just come in here?
Yeah,
so I think something particular about what she said in terms of strategy is not just enough of you as a tester getting a training. All right. I think so. You need to put yourself out there, put up yourself for voluntary jobs, put up yourself for internships, paid or non-paid internship. That way, you're putting yourself in the market and also trying to network to get you the very best job you want to have as a junior QA.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I totally agree with that. Yeah, that was like the major thing, blipping of explanation. So the next question goes to Moses and Tolu. Moses, you expected to go first, and the question is, what has changed since you started your career in software testing? So it's basically what is it that is done way before, or probably something that is somehow before in software testing when you just started, and it isn't that way anymore in software testing? Moses, you are to go first. Hi, Moses, are you there? Okay.
Yeah. So what has changed in software testing over the years? The whole industry is rapidly changing. The IT space itself is, so we know that we largely affect the society with technology. So it's just normal that a lot will change within our space. So a lot has changed. The need for us to work constantly moved closer to the developers right now. Emphasis is now being laid on understanding APIs, understanding how API automation should be done, being able to properly write the right API test cases, automated test cases. Because the emphasis is on the API level, because a lot of interactions go on that area, and so a large number of companies are hugely dependent on APIs gotten from other organizations. So there's increasingly the need for us as a QA team to go closer and closer to the dev, yeah, to understand and ensure that what the dev presents in whatever results that comes out from the endpoints is as it should be. Constantly understand how the database structure should be, ask the right questions as regards to the structure of the database. So all these things have come into play right now, and it's good. There's also the like Tolu mentioned before, he talked about the fact that yes, now you can, as a QA, play a huge part in continuous integration and continuous deployment. So you're expected to play more, to assist even more on the technical side, as well as assist on the creative and product side. Yeah. You're supposed to not only identify issues anymore, like you would say QA should do, but then identify issues, brainstorm with development team to help ensure that those issues are resolved. So a lot has changed, and I envisage that a lot will change. The industry continue to evolve. And as such, we, as a QA team, as a QA industry, we were expected to adjust and adapt to all these changes. Yeah. So I'd say that a lot has changed around the need for us to be more technical, the need for us to embrace those things that we ordinarily think are not necessary.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Moses. And yeah, you're meant to go next.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mubarak. Yeah, so still in the same vein of what Moses has said, I think from my own point of view, what has changed would be that being a QA has actually gone beyond you just matching up expected conditions to actual results. So you now find yourself being a product owner. It is expected that you are the product owner. You have management calling you to say, why is this happening? Before you would say, I was not the one that wrote the code, but now they are asking you, why is this happening? So you are more or less like some Bible to every product that you get to be QA on. Also, more of the organizations these days are leaning towards automation, and normally you would have people being comfortable manual QAs for 3 years, for 5 years. Right now, even in less than 1 year, you're already feeling the need to start doing automation. And I know at the start of the career, for people, we tell them, oh, you don't need to know how to write code, just come and test, you'll get a job. Now it has gone beyond that. You actually need to know how to write code. And even some companies even expect you to even still do code review, which is just like really, the expectations are higher now. It's not just the regular traditional, oh, match of this, match of that. Expectations are higher, and you are more involved, just as Moses has said. The technicalities now are what employers and organizations are looking for. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Togo. Thank you very much, Mrs. You guys just killed everything. Yeah, so my next question goes to Ademola and Kaka. Yeah, we're going to be doing ladies first this time around, and that would be Kaka. So for the question says, what should be considered most important before making a decision to start a career in software testing?
Well, I don't think I would put anything in. I have a list for that. But first of all, your desire to to choose that path. Like most times people just want to do different things, but you have the zeal to actually do this thing you want to do. So choosing a career path such as software testing, you need to ask yourself just a few questions. Do I really want to do this? And also, sometimes you get into this career path and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I like it, but I think it's a stepping stone to something else. I'll use myself as an example, right? And I had always wanted to be a product manager, but while I was in Conga, I was always working with Toby and Kinsley here. So I was always, going around them, trying to do what they do. And before we left Conga, a few months ago, when I was trying to just even transition to testing, and we all left Conga. And I reached out finally to Toby's organization where he was, and I worked for free, with Toby. And I learned on that Toby, worked for free for a few months before I got employed. But so you see, I had that zeal. I wanted to actually get into testing, but my goal was to go into product. So from testing, 2 years later or a year plus later, I got my product role and all, and I've been in product for I'm getting to 3 years. I'll be 3 years in August. So I just feel like you need to have the zeal. It doesn't matter whether you get into testing. You might get there and you realize finally that you really want to be a DevOps engineer. That's where you want to go to. So I don't think any knowledge is wasted. Today, we don't have a QA engineer in-house. I do the manual testing and all. I do a bit of maybe API test and this and that, but I'm still doing testing. So I don't think there is really this is what you need to have to get into this, or to get into testing. Just have that zeal. It can be your goal at the end of the day. It can be where you want to be at the end of the day, or it might just be a stepping stone to your next job. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kaka. That was quite interesting. Yeah, the boss himself. I don't know that next.
Well, I think one thing you should really develop is that curious attitude. Just be curious about things. Let everything. There is no silly questions. There are only silly answers, because it is questions that actually provides knowledge, not answers. When you ask questions, you get knowledge. So be inquisitive, be very curious, and be tenacious. But these are the attitudes I feel that if you would really go far in testing. Be very inquisitive and learn to listen, pay attention. Those are the qualities I feel that if you have, let me understand the question again before I start saying rubbish.
What
should be considered most important before making decision to start career? Exactly. The things that are important to you is be a curious mind, be someone that is very inquisitive. You understand? Once you know that, yes, once they say, this is it, you can ask, why is it so? Because you begin to create scenarios in your head when you begin to ask questions like, why is it like this? Why not like this? And all that. Because other than the zeal, your ability to be able to question how things work, know the inner workings of things, would help you to be able to cover more scenarios in your tests.
Yeah.
So it's like a survival skill. You should be very, very inquisitive. And as it is, except if you're working in a place where there is no standard structure, like there is no test environment, no stage environment, no live environment, like let's say everything is just sharing one node environment like that. That's when you shouldn't have this quality, but be prepared to break things too, because it gives you like a sort of understanding on, okay, yes, if we break it, this is how we can actually reverse engineer the whole thing and build it back. But most importantly, be very inquisitive. It's a survival skill.
Yeah,
that one is enough.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you want us to develop the survival instincts of the lion, and the survival instincts of the crowd as well to keep ourselves. But that's nice. So this question goes to Kingsley Asama, the man himself, the boss. So, and the question says, what do you want to see in probably entry-level QA engineers, senior QA engineers, whatever the level might be, what do you want to see in them to consider them fit to work with you in an organization, or to even consider them being a software tester worthy of giving a chance? Kingsley.
Yeah, so if I can, sorry, I didn't quite get your question clearly. You said before someone can be a software engineer, can you come again, please?
What do you want to see in recruits? Probably an entry level, an intermediate, a senior level. What do you want to see in them to consider them fit to probably say, okay, this person is what it shot at to work in this organization?
Oh, okay. So I think for me, I watch out for your antecedents. I would love to see what you've done before or what you're doing now. So that just gives me sort of a picture of you. It shows that you're actually interested in this, like you mean business, you're serious. I'll probably check out, like, even though you're just starting out in the career path, I think most people here, apart from the speakers, I think probably most people here are actually just starting out the career path. So even if you're just starting out, like, I'll probably ask you questions like, are you doing anything currently? Where can you show me maybe an application or two which you've taken part in testing? Can you show me things you've done freelance? Can you tell me about something you've worked on? So that just, it helps me cut out all the doubt in my mind about you. So yes, I'd love to see what you've done before, where you're coming from, and project that you've taken part in. And also, I love to see people that are very inquisitive. I think QA basically is just about, it's firmly rooted in asking questions. So I love to see people that are very inquisitive. Like Badmus mentioned, like, there are no silly questions. So I like people that are very inquisitive, asking questions, because by asking questions, you try the question, and then the product owners, the managers, they just find themselves thinking like, oh yeah, we didn't really think about it this way. We didn't really think about this direction. So being very inquisitive, it's a very good point scorer for me, both for entry level and experienced QA persons. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the last question from me for us tonight before we go into the Q&A session. And the question goes to Moses, Demola, and Kaka. Moses, Kingsley, Demola, and Kaka. Moses, yeah, you're expected to go first. What's your advice to career starters? Just one or two advice for career starters. Moses.
Okay. So my advice to career starters. I think I'll still draw from a lot of this you said. So as a career starter, I know so it depends on where you are currently. So you might already have something that you're doing, or you might not have it, but then I think the first and most important thing is have the passion for the job. Have the passion for the job, and don't stay idle. Get your hands dirty with testing of other applications. Pick applications from different places. Try to understand how they work. Ask yourself questions around the APIs and how exactly you think they must be interacting, and then start looking for ways to break the system. If you've not seen the opportunity, that job opportunity to properly showcase yourself, it will be best for you to start where you are right now. Start where you are right now and test as many, volunteer, make yourself available for, like Kaka said, make yourself available. Kaka talked about the fact that she made herself available to work under Octavia at the time. It's something that would really help you. Just volunteer to help other testers create test cases, build things. By the time you're doing all these things, you realize that you're building the confidence. You have things to talk about when you get the opportunity. When you get in front of the panel, you wow them with a lot of the things you have done. And then I think another thing that you should also keep with you is that try to stay skeptic. Always doubt everything. Don't close your mind to say this is foolproof. There's no problem here. I believe that no application, it's not possible for an application to not have a bug. So go with that mindset, ask questions, and don't stop asking questions. Yeah, I think with all these things you find,
Yeah, thank you. Kaka, go next.
Oh, yeah. So I think the first thing I'm going to say is do not compare. Don't look at the profiles you're seeing here, Demola's profile, Toby's profile, or Kingsley's profile, and you're asking yourself, when am I going to get here? I beg, this guy is a non-go far. This thing will take time. So don't look at their profiles, but all you need to have is just believe that, you just need to start. That's what you need to do. You just need to start. Once you start, you don't know. In 2 years, you can be somewhere. In a year, you can be somewhere. Refresh yourself. That's all you need. Organize everything you're doing. Reach out to people who are, who are in the game already. Reach out to them. Make yourself available, because that way tomorrow Toby sees a job opening somewhere. He says, okay, fine, I've been seeing this guy's work or this lady's work. I think we can drag her in or him in for an entry role. So that's all you need to do. But be positive. Ask yourself questions. Don't beat yourself though, but ask yourself questions. Be positive. Reach out to people. Keep reading. Keep learning. There are literally so many tutorials online if you want to go into testing. Ademola has told you there are different types of they say you automation, performance, or what. You can decide to choose your career path. If you say it's performance, now start looking at everything under performance and start going towards that direction. But there's one key thing I also need to tell everybody. There's something still called manual testing, right? It's never going anywhere. They need it everywhere. As in, so you can start from there. Say, okay, fine, it's manual. I'm focused now. I can choose a path later. So you can do all of that. But at the end of the day, just be positive. And yeah, you achieve.
Wow, thank you. That was very good. Okay, next we have Ademola. Briefly the advice to us, people like Nova that are starting their career.
Well, my own advice is this now. I want to tell you, you have to hold on to it as you're starting, because as you continue to grow, you must not forget it, because it will happen. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. Do not be afraid to make mistakes at all. You can't be perfect at it. So make mistakes, own them, and learn from them. That's just it. There are many times in my own experience I've made mistakes. What got me out of it, or should I say, I got commended for it because I took ownership. Right? So do not be afraid to make mistakes. mistakes will happen. What is important is you learn from them. I've actually made a mistake that eventually cost me my job. Yes. I was working with a German company. Yeah. And the issue was I was trying to push to the live environment. I mean, to the staging environment. But because the branch I worked on had not been approved yet, the merge request had not been approved. So I was waiting on it. Then I had 2 other tasks to automate, which was piling up. So my boss just came and was like, have you started automating the other 2 tasks? But I did explain to him that I need the approval of that one so I can pull the branch. I don't know where I got it all wrong, but maybe I just didn't check. I created another branch inside a branch. So that's how the whole thing went. So I created a branch inside it. I finished and I pushed for MR. So when they realized that I actually created a branch inside a branch, and I didn't know, it was just an honest mistake. Germany people, they don't have time. I was fired, but that can't ever happen to me again. I learned from it. So do not be afraid to make mistakes. Honestly, you shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes. That's all I have to tell you. Own your mistakes and learn from them.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, the last but not the least, Kingsley Asoma.
Okay, so this is what's the question? Advice to career starters, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing I would like to say, if you're starting out in your career path, first of all, I'd like you to know that you're on a very good path, okay? QA is actually like the entry level to any part of technology that you might want to go into in the future, irrespective of what it is, whatever part of technology. QA is a very good entry path to that. So you should know that you're on a good path. That's the first thing. Then also to let you know, I didn't get to share my experience how I got into QA, but also to let you know that as you go along your journey, right, fear and maybe feeling inferior is something you probably get to experience every day or as you go along your journey. Just like I wasn't really comfortable with all these CVs that were being reeled out at the beginning of the session because it just feels very, very sort of intimidating, especially to someone just starting out. I want you to know that this is like a basic part of this journey. Okay, we've all been, when we started, we've all been in situations where you work with very intimidating guys. For me personally, I was in an environment where almost everyone was actually very experienced. A lot of people worked abroad, they worked with global companies, big names like Google, Microsoft, and all that. And this is me just coming in and not knowing anything in the industry, not knowing basic things as terminologies. You're in a room and they're having conversations and you don't understand anything, you can't contribute. A lot of terminologies you don't understand. Don't worry, okay? Don't worry. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel inferior and all that. But I just want you to just keep going, okay? Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything is in phases. Everything is in stages. All right. Just keep going at it. The fear is a basic part of your journey of your QA career. Okay. That's just what I wanted to share with everyone starting out in their career.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, you've always been a great source of inspiration to me, Kingsley, and every other person. These guys are always the sound like you guys in the future. And yeah, it's awesome getting to hear you guys speak. So before moving to the Q&A session, Kingsley, just about 2 minutes. A lot of us here are newbies and we're trying to get our feet into this pool of QA. So just try to give us some bit of words of encouragement so we don't get to jump out of the pool because of cold or because we feel something is creeping up our feet.
I think it's partly what I just said. I think that's encouragement enough for everyone.
Encouragement doesn't get too much though. Okay. Yeah, I'll be handing over to if it's success for the Q&A session. We are only due to the time factor. We are only going to be taking 5 questions. Apologies about that. So yeah, success.
All right. Once again, I want to say thank you to all our speakers from in home and abroad. It's nice having you all and hearing your voices. Some of you known one-on-one. And okay, so not to waste much of our time, please, if you have questions, you can drop them on the chat. And we'll take just 5 questions. We'll actually spend most of the time. So I'm going to call on Felix first. Felix, please bring up your questions and let's have it directed. Okay, what's your question?
Okay, hi everyone. Actually, I wanted to ask a particular question, but one of the speakers have already answered to my question. So I'm fine.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Felix. Okay, so if you have a question, please, you could just put up the hand raise in the chat so we call you out. All right. All right, Diana, do you have a question?
No.
I think there is a question on the chat already.
Hello, did you get a question? Did anyone hear me?
We cannot read the question.
Yeah, okay, I was reading out the question. I said, what's your advice for anyone trying to transit to QA who is currently working in a financial institution, given the tightness of schedule? And also, what exactly is the beginner steps to becoming a QA expert? So I will have, I'm going to have Badmus answer this question.
Okay, again, because I thought. That's not,
I actually didn't know you were the one who talked. All right, Badmus, let's have it.
Well, there is good news, there is bad news. So the good news is that you can transition into QA, but the bad news is that tightness of schedule can't go away. It can't go away, right? Now, how do you now scale? It is basically about your own personal time management. How you scale is basically about your time management. It does not have to make you antisocial, but you just have to make sure that you have value for your time. Even everybody that is already in QA, they need to scale, but they are usually faced with a lot of daily activities concerning work and all of that. But how do they scale? For me personally, it is about time management. I had the materials that I needed to use to scale. Take, for instance, when I wanted to learn, I'd already learned how to automate using Python and Selenium, but I realized that I was getting gigs, I was getting offers from different companies. In fact, Amazon, before Amazon started all this algorithm thing, before they started all these algorithm exams, I got an Amazon offer and I was told to write simple code and I failed. So I decided that, okay, before I continue with my automation, I need to learn how to use Python as a programming language. So I was learning, I got myself something on Udemy, but I realized that I did not have time. So the trick is, it isn't about the effort you put in. It is, okay, It's about the effort you put in, but how you put the effort in is what matters. This is what I'm saying. Consistent effort is way better than sporadic ones. Okay, so what's the sporadic effort? Sporadic effort is, okay, you find free time on a weekend, you spend 4 hours learning and studying and all. That's good. But it is not as effective as taking at least an hour a day. Maybe in the morning or in the evening before you retire to bed. Take that time to learn. I started that way. Everybody knew that I get to work. I don't know why. Maybe I used to owe people a lot, but I don't get to sleep early. I don't get to sleep that long. I wake up very early. I get to work very early. Before anybody comes inside, I would have studied. Before everybody joins, I would have studied. And everybody knows, people that have worked with me, once it is 5, that's the contract I signed with the company. Once it is 5, fiam, I don't close shop. On my way home to beat traffic so I can still read before I retire to bed. That was how I scaled. So you have to do proper time management. Then my weekends, I began to cut some things short. I go and play ball in the morning. The ones that will now sit down after ball, start calling Elewa, buy Ewa with plenty Ororo and Yam, and start discussing how Buhari was the reason why Lizard is having high blood pressure. I stopped it. Once I'm done with ball, I leave, because that would save me another 1 hour or 2 hours of just gisting. I can put it towards learning. Then what else do you now need to do? You need to start testing everything you're doing. You know, it's just like when you're preparing for war, and all you just do is you sharpen your sword every day. You should test that sword, because you need to know how sharp it is. So when that war comes, you know that, yes, what I'm holding can actually save me. You understand? So you need to start testing what you've been learning. So when you see that, okay, yes, I'm making progress, then how do you accelerate the progress? Begin to look for places where you can actually fill it in. Not to waste further time, what you should add to it is have this don't die spirit. Because as you begin to learn, as someone that is transitioning, when you begin to gain all this knowledge and everything like that, you might not have all the terminologies all synced in, but go for interviews. Have the interview experience as well. Let them send you that love letter. Let them say, no, we are moving on with someone else. It doesn't matter. We don't die, we multiply. Just keep doing that. It will give you experience. You understand? It will give you experience. You know what to expect in interviews. You understand? In fact, I've done so many interviews that once I see the name of the interviewer and it looks like an Indian, I know what to prepare for. Because Indians will start asking you the nitty-gritty of the particular application. You understand? As opposed to maybe if a German, or probably, I'm not trying to be a racist here, but based on the experience I've had in interviews, you understand? Indians like to make sure that you know all the details. You might get the job, like they say, you might get the job and you not be doing anything that pertains to the detail, but you would be asked about it. You understand? So it's part of the experience of taking interviews that you get that. So summarily, you have to perfect your time management, use consistent effort approach, shorten the time. Don't be looking for 3-4 hours per day. It won't happen. In fact, scientifically, your hours of assimilation does not span 4-5 hours. Out of 4-5 hours, you probably assimilate for 2 hours. So why waste 3? Just do 2 and assimilate for maybe 1.5 hours, 1.5 out of it, and you've done well for yourself. So make it short, make it consistent. Then at the same time, test what you've learned by going for interviews and everything. And if you scale the interview, it's accelerates experience.
All right, thank you very much, Badmus. So the main focus there is be consistent. Be consistent. All right, okay. So we're gonna be having our responses so quick, not to take, I think at least by 9:30 we should. So the next question goes to, I'm gonna have Ayomide, please, can you give us a quick answer on this? So many automation tools out there, which one is it better to start with?
Hello. So basically, my advice for that would be, are you already working with any company? If you are, what are they using? If not, maybe you start with Selenium using Appium for maybe mobile testing, the basics. I don't know if that helps.
All right, thank you. Dami, do you have any answer how you want to add to this? What's the best automation to start with as a beginner?
Okay, so as a beginner, best automation tool to start with. For me, I started learning Selenium, then I moved on to Cypress. So depending on, I think it depends on you. Depends on how fast you can grab and how easy you can assimilate things. So for now, I'm making use of Cypress as my automation tool, and I find Cypress more easy to comprehend than Selenium. For another person, Selenium may be easier to comprehend. So I think it depends on you. And
so you're saying how comprehensible an automation tool is one can actually start with. Okay, so thank you very much, Ayomide and Dami. So this question goes to Kaka. All right, it says
my hand is raised. Can I add to that the automation tool, please?
Briefly.
Yeah, so on automation tool, it isn't about, Dami kind of nailed it. It's about you and how easily you can understand something. But even if you go through it, you understand. And also you're immediate to touch it. The company you work with, what they do, the applications that they work with. But if you're going to pick automation tools, there are so many. You can do a survey. The ones that are easy to set up should be things that you will lean to. And the ones, especially if you don't have a coding background, the ones that write less codes should be the things that you will lean towards. You understand? If you start with Selenium, especially if you now go and jam Java with Selenium, you might want to eat automation. But if you start with Selenium and Python, you might have a different you might have a different view of it. But let's remove all of that. There are several tools that they are even codeless that can introduce you easy into automation, understand how automation should be, then you can begin to look at a bit complex tool. You understand? Like 5 years ago, if you tried Java and Selenium, you would not want to go with automation. But now that they have a POM file, they have a Maven setup, and it makes it look easier, people can gravitate towards Java and what's called. And Java as a language itself is strongly typed. It's not easily understandable. You have to be very good at it. So you must know yourself first, but start from ease of setup and how easy, how less of codes you need to write.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Badmus, on that. So the next question, I'm taking it to Kaka. Please, a brief one. As a newbie who is transitioning from language, there's so many information out there, and that can be quite overwhelming. How do I narrow down these bases? There are various professionals with different methods for teaching. It's been tough finding a comprehensive and step-by-step method.
I think this question should be directed to Badmus. So I think you should answer the question. Badmus should answer the question. Badmus, please do us a favor.
What was the question again? I was actually reading through the chat.
Okay.
What was the question again?
So as a newbie who is transitioning from language, there's so many information out there, and that can be quite overwhelming. How do I narrow down the basis? There are various professionals with different methods for teaching. It's been tough finding a comprehensive and step-by-step method.
Someone coming from a different language. Can the person that asked the question just speak out and ask so I can understand some things there? Language, like you already know an automation language. You already know a programming language, rather.
Programming language.
So if you already know a programming language, now let's understand some things. There is a difference between knowing and understanding. So if you really understand the programming language, transitioning into another programming language shouldn't be a problem. Transitioning into any other programming language shouldn't be a problem. This is why. Let's view programming languages as normal languages. If you grew up in the village like I did, where as they are teaching us English, they are using Yoruba they are putting a sprinkle of Yoruba to spice it up. You realize that a subject remains a subject regardless of the language. A verb will remain a verb regardless of the language. An object will remain an object regardless of the language. How they now construct it will just be different. And that is the syntax. So you want to write a function in Python, you can equally write a function in Java because both of them are object-oriented programming language. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So all you just need to do is to investigate how to write that same function. Let's say you know Java already. People that know Java, that write Java, they struggle with Python a lot because once they write something, they want to put semicolon at the back. They just go, there's no need for semicolon. It's just a language syntax and semantics that will be different. But the same thing you would do is the same way with automation. I was once given an interview opportunity with another German company. And after the practical interview, the man said, he asked me what I could automate with. I said I could do Cypress, Robot Framework, Selenium. And it was like, well, we use Puppeteer. I would like you to use Puppeteer. And I'm giving you a week. He sent me the assessment on Friday. I submitted Sunday afternoon. I just scheduled the email that I should receive it on Monday. Why was it so easy? I understood automation. I know that, okay, I need to do page object modeling. I need to keep my elements somewhere. I need to build my object classes. All I just needed to do was Google, how do I do this with Puppeteer? How do I set Puppeteer up? Simple. I didn't waste time. It didn't take me any time at all. So it's the same thing with programming language. If you really understand the programming language that you are using before, whatever you want to do, just look for the equivalence. That's it. You want to write a class file, how you reference it into another particular file, you just need to Google the same thing. It's practically the same thing. You just use different syntax and semantics. That's all.
All right. Thank you very much, Badmus, for that abrupt answer. So the next question, I would like Tolu and Moses, please give us a brief answers on what you know. So this person is asking, do you know any organization, company currently offering paid and unpaid internship positions for entry-level testers? So before they would answer this, I know if you've updated your profile on LinkedIn as suggested by the management of Neto, what you can also do is check out, reach out to organizations, and you can always search for voluntary internship roles, on LinkedIn and apply. All right, but then Tolu and Moses, please, can you give us, in one sentence or two, do you know any organization currently offering paid and unpaid internship position for entry-level testers?
Okay. At this time, no. But well, this is where networking comes in. I believe that there is a platform where you guys are on that we get to drop job postings, and should I know of any, we can always drop it there. No, we would drop it there, but no at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Moses?
Yeah, so currently I don't know any, but I'm also on the group where we drop those job postings, so definitely we fit in as we find out. Yeah, so once I'm able to help out, I'll definitely drop them. But currently,
All right. Thanks, Moses. So guys, you know, we actually have a group, and on that group, we'll do as much as possible to always post, you know, openings for everyone. And I know sometimes this week, we actually posted internship role as received by TMAP for women in tech. So such, you know, groups that we're having for other groups that we are in, whenever we have roles, you know, any openings for interns or entry levels, we would always share to the platform. Still, we would want to enjoin everyone, please update your LinkedIn profile and your resumes, set up and network also on LinkedIn, connect to people, because when you connect, you are actually expanding your network and opportunities of being seen as well. If you need help with this, you can always reach out to the Netto management, reach out to Mubarak, Dami, myself, or Toby and any other persons. Thank you, Tolu and Moses. So as we round this up, we're taking the last question, and this is going to be answered by Kingsley. The question says, what advice do you have for someone who does not have a degree and want to start a career in software testing?
Okay, I think in modern times or right now, most companies or some companies will probably not ask you for your degree before you get employed. I've actually seen that a lot out here, you know, they're just more, they're more interested in what you can do or your experience. You know, out here, I think people that have experience, like they just, they find jobs more easily than others, you know. I think no one has actually asked me for a BSc or for a master's probably since I came out here, you know, to get a job. So I don't think like a degree is actually like something that should discourage you or block you from, you know, starting a career or going into testing. No, most places will not ask you for it. Most places, or some places, let me not say most, some places will not ask you for it. And also, I also like to encourage you, like in your search as well, do well to look beyond Nigeria. Okay, do well to look beyond Nigeria. Nigeria can be a bit stereotypic. It could be, we could be rigid at times, you know, in recruitment and stuff. You know, they ask you for all these degrees and stuff that probably no one actually use. So do well to look outside Nigeria as well. That's what I'll say.
All right. Thank you so much, Kingsley. Want to say once again a big thank you to all our speakers. It was nice having you on board. Thank you for the time shared with us. I hope everyone, this has been insightful for us, and we've been able to answer some pressing concerns that you may have had. You can always, at any point in time, reach out if you want to, you know, maybe you need connection with any of them to ask questions. You can reach out to us and we'll reach out to them on your behalf. Is that a networking thing or a connectivity thing? All right. Okay. So we're going to draw the curtain here. I want to say once again, thank you, everyone, for being amazing and for your time spent. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to the Netto management team for also putting this together. We hope we're going to have you all next time on a better cruise. And to this end, I want to say good night to everyone. Thank you so much. Oda Aro, Bon Nuit, Avidezon, and every other good night. Thank you all.